Welcome to G-Man Gaming and Reviews. Alright, so we're going to do a class guide for the first of the archers, or they're called the faction of Watchers of Tuathan, of the Sentinel. Now, I'm going to put it on difficulty 1. Actually, no, we'll leave it on leave it on difficulty 1 just in case I get killed at the very beginning. That can happen in this game. So, the archer class is very interesting in that it relies on barriers to defend itself, but so that it doesn't have any block cards like the warrior classes do. But the amount of barrier that cards will give you are based off your armor rating. So when you're playing with an archer or for the Watchers of Tuathan faction, you want to focus on having as much armor as you possibly can. Anything that increases your armor, permanent stat boosts to your armor are really, really good for this class. And the other thing to note is this particular faction has something called agile, which basically means is that when they generate barriers, the barrier only lasts for one turn. So unlike, say, using the barrier for the summoner classes, their barriers for them will last until the barrier is depleted, until it's completely destroyed. But with the Watchers of Tuathan, no matter how much barrier they get in a turn, it's gonna disappear next turn. There are some passives that sort of alter that, but for the most part, this class really relies on using barriers to protect itself. Now, this class, the archers can do some really good damage, because they've got buffs that allow them to buff the damage that they do, plus each of their arrow cards costs 0 energy to play, or most of them do, so they can actually attack quite a bit in a single turn. Now, in relation to the Sentinel, which is what this guide will be through, the passive skill is whenever you play an arrow, your Phantom will attack the same target, dealing 1 additional hit for 50 damage. So basically the Sentinel, this is the only passive skill that you can start with. Basically, he does more damage than the other two archer classes, base damage. And his ability is he can collect energy from used arrows to unleash later as their ultimate ability. So basically, he powers up his ultimate ability by using arrows. Now, one thing to keep in note is this class has the ability to use charges of its ultimate ability to get more arrows into your hand. So sometimes you've got to make the decision as to whether or not you're going to use the ultimate ability. Now, in this case, the ultimate ability, basically what it does is for each charge of ultimate ability he has, he will unleash 1 arrow at a random target. So, from my experience, most of the time you're better off using your charges to get extra arrows rather than using your ultimate ability, but there are times when your ultimate ability can be very useful. Alright, so we're going to start as the Sentinel. Okay, so we're going to move to a battle, so you can see how this class plays. Now, one of the things that's important about this class, like if you have a look at these cards, you'll see that I've only got feints in my hand, but if you have a look, see how the classes gain barrier equal to 100% of your armor. Literally, all of your cards that you use for defense are based off your armor value. So you want to make sure that your base armor value is as high as it possibly can be. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we can see here that he's going to use, he's going to do 4 to 5 damage, so we're going to use this to get the barrier, and you'll see that we now have a barrier of 25. Now this is the agile movement passive skill that I was talking about. See how it says all barriers last only one turn. If you start a turn with negative armor, gain barrier equal to 50% of the missing armor. Don't really worry about the negative armor bit, because it's not really that useful to worry about. So we know that he's going to do 3 to 4 damage. There's no point in playing this card to get more barrier, because unlike the other classes, remember, your barrier only lasts for 1 turn. So I'm gonna... let's do this. And you'll notice there that my Phantom did an additional hit. Now you'll notice that, see this card, see how it says 3 down here? That means it will use 3 charges of my ultimate ability, which is being blocked by the cards that I have. But basically, so you'll see how the ultimate ability, once per turn, deal 3 hits for 2 to 3 random damage. Each ultimate charge equals to 1 hit. So for the most part, it's not really worth it. It's not really worth it to bother and that's pretty much how this class works. So we'll do another battle so you can see how this class works. Ooh, this one's a good one. They're all pretty good this turn, but barrier is the best. Now, one of the things to note about this class is that whenever you play a card, it flips to, it goes in the graveyard and it flips to a different side. So it's kind of important to know, to have a look at all these cards. This ability is unique to the Archers, or the Watchers of Tuathan, right? So you should always check to see, well, what? I didn't want that. So this is one of the passive skills that I was talking about that allows you to lose only 90% of your barrier instead of 100. Can be useful. But so is increasing the minimum damage you deal by 3. I'm going to take that. And we've got a rune. Let's have a look. What runestone did we get? I'll probably take this one to draw an extra card. Alright, so let's have a look. Let's get into another battle. It's got, it's just one guy. Nah, we'll find a more difficult battle. Yeah, like the Treasure Guardians. Ooh, that's good. We'll use our burn level. Alright. Alright, so you'll notice that we've got quite a few cards this turn. So, luckily I drew this extra card. So that's going to give me defense. So I get 25 barrier. And that's going to allow me to defend. So you always want as much barrier as you need to protect against the attacks. And then after that you want to focus on damage. I'm not going to play this card because it's going to allow me to draw 4 cards next turn. I've got a lot of shock cards in my hand, so I'm going to... and then play that. And now because I played that card, it upped my damage for 3 turns. So now I'm actually doing more damage. So we go like this. Go like this. Well, we should do this to reduce their armor. And then this. And we Now, like I said with this class, for every arrow that you use, you build up a charge. Now, as you can see from all these cards here, especially this card in particular, gain barrier equal to 150% of your armor. If your armor is negative, this card isn't going to get you any barrier. So this is the reason why with this class, you want to make sure that your armor stays positive. Okay, the more armor you have, the better. So I'm going to use 3 charges to get more arrows. And this would... Now, normally I would like to play this card, but you'll see that this turn gain 100% damage, lose 25 armor for 3 turns. That's going to take my armor to negative, which means I don't want to play that. So I'm going to use the stun... Oh, actually, there's no point in using the stun shot, so we'll kill him. And kill him. And kill him. And kill him some more. Use Phantom Aid. And we use our ultimate ability and he dies. So just go to the bar. Okay, now we're going to go for a hard battle to really demonstrate, you know, how this character plays out. So the burn level is high. Okay. So we've got a 0 card, which is great, but we need more barrier. This isn't going to be enough, so we're going to use another barrier card, and that's enough. So once you've got as much barrier as you need, well, this is good because it's going to gain 10 armor, which is going to help with my damage abilities. So we're going to use this to do damage, and done. And you'll notice that unfortunately we do not have any cards that can defend me. But luckily we've got this flute. Draw this shadow shot card to... Now, normally when you're... Now, see how this would use 3 charges? So I'm just going to use that. And do that. And focus on killing him. And do a smoke shot here. And draw arrows. Oh. That didn't do anything, because I must not have had any more arrows. So we're going to use a smoke shot to stun him. And you'll notice once again, I have no defensive cards. But you'll notice that this class does a significant amount of damage. Okay, now I've got a whole bunch of defensive cards, but nothing offensive. And I'm going to play all these cards. Now, that's a good hand. So we play this card to get our defense. We kind of need more defense. So we play another one, and that's fine. So now we can focus on doing that. Now, this smoke shot arrow is very, very good, but use it on the person that's not attacking you. So we use it on them, and then we attack him. And him. Alright, so we're going to use this to get armor. Use that to get more armor. Draw arrows. And stun that guy, because why not? And 25. So that's 20. We need more defense. Alright, so we're going to use the shadow shot. You want to use the shadow shot first, because it reduces the target's armor. And then attack. Let's see how that base power works. Like, it does additional damage based on 50% of the damage. So we use this to get defense. And now we have a problem in that and I should probably stun him because he's going to do the most damage. Now we use this to get armor. We can probably kill him. So probably not as important, so we can kill him. So we don't really have to worry about his damage. Interesting. Ooh, no, it doesn't use anything. Now, I'm going to use the... Normally you shouldn't do this, but I'm going to use the holder bow because I can take him out in a single turn. Alright, let's have a look. What do we want to pick? Bottomless bag. Not. What does this do when you have a look at the... Draw one card and reduces energy cost by 1. Draw 2 cards and reduce their energy cost by 1. Oh, that's really good. Arrows do not have another side to them. It's only maneuvers that have multiple sides, or multiple, I suppose you could say, cards. Yeah, we'll take that. Alright, so we go with the treasure pile, and if I get the extra... Here, now, for this class, the armor is better than the HP. Alright. And now we will do... Okay, so that's pretty much how the Sentinel class works, and for the most part how the Archer classes work. The other two have got some variations on certain things, but that's for the most part. So we're going to go to the town now and have a look at runes. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at runes for the Sentinel.
The blacksmith is...
Okay. So, this rune here in the first turn of combat gains 75% armor. Really, I don't think is that good. This rune here, Ethel, increase armor by 10 is brilliant. Okay, that's a brilliant rune because it's a every turn it's an increase to armor. It increases your base armor, and like I said, with this particular class in particular, the higher your base armor is, the more barrier you're going to get from your defensive maneuver cards. So it's very, very important to get your base armor to as high value as you can. Cracked guy, increased damage by 2. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, it's pretty decent. Normally, I would say that having better HP is better than having better armor, but with the exception to this is especially for the summoner classes. I mean, having better HP is generally better. But in this case, like I said, because the Watchers of Tuathan, the archer class, their defensive maneuvers are based on how much armor they have. That's how much barrier that they get. Having as much armor as you possibly can on regularly is really, really good. I remember in one of my playthroughs, I found a rune that increased armor by 5 or 10 every single turn, which was brilliant. So this could be better in the for this particular class. It could be better in the weapon slot. Really, really good is if you manage to get 2 weapons, 2 armor slots, and you equip 2 of these, or you upgrade this. This one here in the weapon slot, can be pretty good. In the first turn of combat, draw 1 additional card with the cost reduced by 1, because it helps you start the game, and hopefully you don't start a battle with no maneuver cards. It can happen. As you'll see, I took damage before, but like I said, yeah. So the best runes for the archer class, or such as the Sentinels, or the Sentinel, or the Watchers of Tuathan, are anything that improves armor. Everything else is not as useful as everything that improves armor. So improving your armor for this particular class is really good. But one of the things that I noticed when I was playing with this class is when I first started using this class, I noticed that I think my base armor was 0, and because my base armor was 0, when I was using the cards that create barrier, I wasn't getting any barrier. So normally when you start a run, you start with 100 gold. What you want to do is you want to go to the blacksmith and immediately try to find a Ethel. Is it Ethel? Yeah, immediately try to find an Ethel rune. But yes, that's pretty much the end of the discussion on the Sentinel. Pretty interesting class, the Archer class. But yeah, so this was, I forgot to say it at the beginning of the video. This was G-Man Gaming and Reviews doing our guide for the Sentinel. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.